Welcome back to the Go podcast, man. Episode 72, week 18 of the NFL season. Coming right down to the wire, man. We got the AFC, NFC playoff race we're going to talk about today. And then our week 18 pick'ems as the season winds down and we get towards playoff football right upon us, man. First things first, we're going to cover the AFC playoff race, and it's not just the wild card divisions up for grabs. AFC South and AFC East could switch up here in a matter of a couple of days, man. The first one, AFC South, let's start with that. You got the Jags, Colts, and Texans all fighting for that divisional spot, and then one wild card spot as well, possibly. Who do you like taking that South division?
So I believe it's the Jags. It's like they win and then they get the division, right? So, they're playing the Titans, and, we'll talk about this going over and stuff. But I think the Jags, at this point, kind of tough sledding at the end of the season. Not really where, they and, people in the, just around the NFL thought they'd be. But I think, in a control your own destiny, winning you're in against the Titans who have kind of fallen off a cliff, aren't really, the same team. Will Levis is kind of, showing his true colors at this point. He's still a super young second-round quarterback. And I just think the Jags at this point definitely, I think they get a division. Now, I want to say, they're a strong, contender in the AFC, but I think they can do just enough and handle business and get a win against the Titans. And then if the Jags lose, whoever wins between the Colts, Texans, they get the division, right? So if the Jags end up losing, I think I like the Colts in that scenario, and we'll talk about the matchup or whatever. But, yeah, I think the Jags handle their business, control their own destiny, and they get that win.
Same right here. And then as far as the AFC East, man, I guess we'll talk about that a little bit more in the pick'ems when we break down that Bills-Dolphins game to take the division. On the bubble, in that AFC wildcard, obviously the Texans, Colts hold that last wildcard spot as of now, and then the Steelers can possibly sneak in there at a 29% chance to make the playoffs as of right now. They do need a little help. They could still somehow, I believe, lose, and then they could get in, but that would require a tie between the Colts and Texans. But if the Steelers do win, they got a legit chance to somehow make the playoffs, so we'll see. I think the Steelers got they got the Ravens this week, and they're going to be resting. So it's winnable for the Steelers as well. So, you kind of already said it. You got the Colts and Jags sneaking in there right now in that AFC picture.
So in terms of like that last wild card spot,
yeah,
it'd be the Colts if they beat the Texans, but I just feel like it's always like this, bro. The Steelers just find a way, bro. No matter what happens, every season they lose their quarterback. This is like the first year, like people like legitimately questioning Mike Tomlin. Is he gonna continue to be the guy? Like, has he lost the locker room? Deontay Johnson and George Pickens, they're in the middle of the season. They're not blocking. Throwing fits. Najee Harris is washed. But then, like, at the end of the season, it's like, yeah, they get to play the Ravens, who are resting all their starters, and then somehow have a legit chance to make the playoffs. Mason Rudolph apparently is a solid quarterback now. They're putting up all these points. The Seahawks roll over last week and give them a win. So, I feel like it's been the theme, like, of the season this year, just, like, wild AFC North things just happening. And I think, when you look at the Browns, 4 QBs, they've locked up a spot. The Bengals coming into the year, Joe Burrow, all these guys, they're not even going to make the playoffs with that injury, which is tough. And then the Ravens being arguably, the best team in the league. I just think, the story of this season has just been the wild AFC North. And I think they definitely haven't disappointed, man. So I think that last playoff spot is definitely going to come down to, I think, between the Colts and the Steelers, and whoever gets in between those two, yes, who knows at this point.
I'm right there with you, man.
Because for the Steelers, I think even if they beat the Ravens, they need other help.
Yeah, they need
too.
help. They need a loss. I think they need a Jags loss.
Yeah.
To propel them. I'm not sure if they need Colts or Texans, or it doesn't really matter. I mean, they're all knotted up at the same spots. They got a 29% chance to make the playoffs. I guess we'll see come Sunday when it comes, to the Steelers' favorable matchup, at least for them. So we'll see that AFC picture a little bit more clear this week than it was last week for sure. It's going to move us to the NFC, man. And right now, this NFC South is clearly up for grabs. I mean, you got the Bucks, Saints, and Falcons all a chance to make the playoffs. Bucks 69% chance. They hold that 4 in that South title right now. Saints 31. Falcons have a 10% chance to get in. And then you got the Packers sitting at their last wild card spot. They win and they're in. They got a 60% chance. Seahawks sitting at 26. And then you got the Vikings at a 3% chance as well. So they're not down and out of it yet. I think they're going to go back to Nick Mullins. I'm not sure if that was announced this week or not, but
it doesn't really matter at this point.
Nah.
Yeah, it doesn't. Jaron Hall was pretty bad, but I mean, Nick Mullins, what we saw him the week before,
he was bad.
Yeah, in Detroit, it wasn't much better.
I mean, yeah, I got the Bucks winning this South. I got the Packers holding on.
I mean, the Bucks, yeah, all they have to do is beat the Panthers, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Saints, Falcons,
Packers.
Yeah,
I kind of got it
the
the same way, man. Bucks getting that South title, and then the Packers, they win and they take care of business. They're in as well as that 7 last wild card team. Saints got a chance, so they need help from the Bucks. Hopefully another abysmal game they're hoping for from Baker and what happened last week to them getting stomped at home. And then the rest of the list, I mean, I kind of see it staying the same. But last week of the season, you really never know what's going to happen. But you don't know until you play the game. That's why you don't do it on paper matchup. But you got any last playoff takes before we jump into the pick'ems?
No, I mean, I think it should be an interesting playoff. And the one thing I will touch on, I feel like, everyone wanted that extra team, get that 7th seed in there, take away that extra bye week, make it more competitive. But I feel like this year, the way the teams have been playing, it's like, do we really need that extra seed this season? Like, I mean, yeah, it's cool. It's, it puts more emphasis on the 1 seed, but I don't know. I feel like this year we could have just been okay with 6 teams.
6 teams.
Yeah.
2 byes.
Yeah.
All right.
Do we really think the Packers are going to go on a run? Like, I mean, Jordan Love's been playing solid, but
he looked good.
From what we've seen from them, come on, like, Gardner Minshew's going to...
Up and down, yeah. I'm not...
Is he going to go on a miracle run? Like, come on, man. Yeah, like...
I definitely don't want to see the Steelers.
Yeah,
we're going to talk about it, but...
I mean, come on.
They start... Is there a Thursday? I don't think there's a Thursday night game. I think it's a Saturday game, Steelers-Ravens.
I think so.
So they're going to kick it off, man. I mean, we jumped into it. The Steelers are actually favorites in this game, and I'm going to take them. I mean, Ravens, they're just preparing for the playoffs and who they're going to face. They got the bye. LJ gets to sit out a week. Odell running out a casino yacht or whatever it was. I don't know if that was real or not, but
we all remember what happened last time
in Miami. Yeah, no, they threw that little picture up after. They were like, "Don't let LJ on the boat, man."
Last time we saw Odell
curse
go on a boat before the playoffs, we all know what happened.
I don't think the Giants had a bye that year, so I'll give OBJ a little bit benefit of the doubt. They got a bye this year. It didn't end up well, but I got the Steelers, man.
Yeah, I got the Steelers here in this game as well, and we'll talk about the playoff matchups and what's going on in the next couple of weeks. But the Ravens send out their starters this week; they get the bye the next week. I mean, there's some scenarios where the Ravens aren't playing their first meaningful football in a couple of weeks, and they might catch one of these teams. I know I know everyone's talking about your team. We'll get to them, but that's definitely a scenario. So, I mean, that's definitely something to look on the Ravens, who haven't had much playoff success. Lamar, that's been his big question. And kind of the same thing a couple years ago when they were the 1 seed and ended up losing to the Titans. Do we see a repeat here, or are the Ravens, the real deal at this point? We'll see. But, yeah, this game, I think this is the right thing to do. Sit everybody. Don't need to risk any crazy injuries. I like Pittsburgh.
Yeah. The next one, AFC South battle, man. Texans, Colts. Last wild card spot. One of these teams most likely getting into the playoffs, man. I think it's going to be a good matchup. Colts have been playing some decent ball. JT back healthy. He's looked decent. The Texans, kind of CJ Stroud struggled last week a little bit. But I got the Texans getting this win on the road. It's been an up and down season for him, highs and lows. Definitely highs being, CJ Stroud and his play. Obviously, lost Tank Dell for the season, his favorite target. But I see in a tough divisional matchup right now, I'm just going with who would I rather see in the playoffs, Young Texans or, Gardner Minshew, like you mentioned. So I also got to go 7 different picks than you, so I took the Texans here.
Oh, is that why today when I went and made my picks, I didn't see you make any?
Yeah, I had to see what you were to go against you. So
yeah, I'm just gonna pick the Colts here. They're the home team, a little bit more experience with Gardner Minshew. He was on that Eagles team last year who made a little run in the playoffs, had some success with the Jags. So in a bigger moment, maybe you trust the more experience. But this game could go either way. I could definitely see the Texans winning, but I'm gonna take Indy here at home.
Next game up, man. Speaking of South, Jacksonville Jaguars in Tennessee against the Titans. And you mentioned Will Levis. I think he got hurt last game. Tannehill came in.
Tannehill did come in, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, for the Titans, just chalk the season up. Derrick Henry, possibly last game in a Titans uniform. Probably the biggest news for them coming out of this game. They could play spoiler for the Jags, but I don't know how much, at this point it really means for the Titans, who are definitely looking on to next season. Give me the Jags, man. If they really, I was gonna give a legit excuse. I want the Browns to play in Jacksonville so I could go to the game. Yeah, give me the Jags, man. AFC South champs.
Yeah, I mean, we pretty much talked about this already. We covered it. Jags control their own destiny, winning their end. I'm gonna take Jacksonville.
Next game up, man. NFC North, Vikings, Lions in Detroit. Doesn't matter who's starting at the Vikings quarterback situation. Tough break this season when Kirk went down. Once again, they're building towards next year at this point. What are they going to do with, Jay Jets on the outside? Is he going to be a Viking? Is he not? We'll see, man. But give me the Lions at home. They're mad they didn't get that win last week. They play with a little bit of a chip.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Lions here, although I definitely, this could be a game where, they sit some of their starters maybe in second half. Going into the end of the game, they pull some guys. But I think they're going to play the entire game. I'm not too sure. I haven't really checked, but I think they'll be playing, especially after the loss.
Seeding implications.
After last week, losing to Dallas. But, yeah, I mean, I got the Lions here, man. At home. Jared Goff's in the Dome, his favorite place.
Speaking of domes, the two NFC South Dome teams, Falcons, Saints in New Orleans. Yeah, we said we're not talking about the Falcons the rest of the year, so give me the Saints.
Yeah, I mean, the Saints are right there up with the Falcons in terms of not talking about, so yeah, I'll take the Saints.
I mean, speaking of the two teams as well in the AFCs, Jets, Pats, man, Aaron Rodgers' future next season with the Jets, man, last season possibly. That's what they're looking forward to. Give me the Pats at home. I think, they just maybe play with a little bit more life than the Jets.
Yeah, I like the Pats here as well. And I think this game has the chance to be a little bigger than, what meets the eye at first. Could this be Belichick's last game?
Oh.
I know the Patriots are trying to secure that number 2 pick in the draft right now. If Belichick isn't going to be there, does he really care about the pick? Does he kind of, try to play sabotage to the organization and win and screw them and they miss out on, one of the top quarterback prospects. Not too sure. That's, up in the air. But regardless, I just think right now the Patriots are a better team, better coached, which says a lot than the Jets.
Yeah. It's gonna bring us to the um other exciting game, Week 18. Bucks Panthers in Carolina. I picked the Panthers last week, and they just went for every fourth down. Owner David Temper is pouring drinks on fans. It's the type of season it's been in Carolina. Don't have a draft pick in the first round. I think the Bucks take care of business after a horrible, horrible game last week.
Yeah, they just kind of didn't play any offense in the first half, which was uncharacteristic of the Bucks up to that point because that offense was rolling. Mike Evans was hot, Baker was slinging it, so I think they get back on track. Look to get right before the playoffs, and I got the Bucks.
Next one up, Browns Bengals, and the Browns going to be sitting a majority of their starters. This game punched that 5 seed with the win against the Jets last week. I'm just picking the Browns here. Jeff Driscoll at quarterback, UF legend. Yep. Versus Jake Browning. Exciting AFC North. This is exactly what I thought would happen Week 18 when the season came down the line. Bengals, Browns. Driscoll versus Browning. Give me the Browns.
Yeah, this is like 2016. You hear Driscoll versus Browning. You'd be like, yeah, two future quarterbacks. They're going to be running the league. Browning over there at Washington putting up a bunch of numbers, and Driscoll was solid at UF. But regardless, I just picked the Bengals because I figured the Browns would be sitting everyone, and they really have nothing to play for. So I think the Bengals can beat, the Browns' second stringers.
Yeah, that's going to lead us to the NFC North. Bears, Packers at Lambeau. Probably going to be storming this time of year. Jordan Love, season on the line, wild card spot. Give me the Pack. Bears have looked real good. Justin Fields has looked good towards the end of the season. Bears fans chanting, we want, Fields. Heading into next season with the number 1 pick, do they trade back? What do they do? A lot of rumors going around there. We'll see what the Bears, because they, what they decide to do. Caleb Williams enters the draft. Whatnot. Do you get Justin Fields, Marvin Harrison, and trade back? We'll see. The Packers, they looked phenomenal last week. I know they played the Vikings, who looked horrible offensively, so they really didn't need to do too much. Defense helped them out a bit. Give me the Pack at home, trying to clinch that number 7 seed.
Yeah, man, I got the Pack winning here and sneaking in, and we touched on it earlier this year, a couple weeks ago, where Justin Fields came back from that injury, and we're like, he's playing for his career, is he going to stay in Chicago? Will he play good enough to get opportunity somewhere else? Well, down the stretch, I think Justin Fields has definitely played enough to make this a decision for the Bears front office. You mentioned, the stadium chanting, we want Fields. DJ Moore coming out multiple weeks, doubling down, saying he wants Fields to be his quarterback. So, Justin Fields has got all the support, all the backing. It'll just be interesting to see what the Bears do, like you mentioned, with that number 1 overall pick. So, I think the Bears have some tough decisions to make, but I think regardless, they're heading in the right direction. And the Packers kind of more in the moment, playing for the now, playing for the playoffs. So I think the Packers handle business at home and squeak in.
Cowboys Commanders, man. The Cowboys fighting for the not the number 1, the NFC East title.
The 2 seed.
2 seed, yep. And they play the Commanders at home. I just got the Commanders playing spoiler here for the Cowboys. Not going into the Cowboys on the road statistics that we know. I also just making a different pick than you. Give me Sam Howell, man. He doesn't turn the ball over this week if he plays. I don't know who they're going to play.
Yeah, listen, they start Jacoby. You might have a better shot at this.
100%.
But I'm going to pick Dallas here. This game has a lot of implications, and I saw they flexed the Cowboys and Eagles game to be on at the same time. So both teams will have to play both of their starters, no resting. So won't be really any real advantage other than checking the live scores and seeing the live stats. So going into the game, both teams will definitely have to play everyone, or will be playing for something. So with that being said, I feel like the Cowboys, think they're the best team in the division. Honestly, I also do think they're the best team. They've been playing like it on the road. That's kind of like, the only hope you got, where they've been a different team at home and on the road. So if there's any chance to get the Cowboys for the Commanders, it'd be at home. But I just think the Cowboys are way better, and they're actually playing for something meaningful, especially for the Cowboys, to where if they don't get that 2 seed and they have to go on the road in the wild card, that's already going to be starting off tough. So they want to get that home playoff game, at least one, to where, maybe get some momentum to face the Niners. So, yeah, I got Dallas here on the road.
It's gonna. Let's see what them Cowboys, man. Broncos, Raiders. Jared Stidham versus
Aiden O'Connell.
Aiden O'Connell. Yeah, I mean, O'Connell looked decent towards the end of the game. You started just, hey, Devontae's there somewhere, and it started working for him. Give me the Broncos. I mean, up and down season for the Broncos. They peaked at one point. Bench Russ, they're on the decline. What's their move heading into the next year? Quarterback situation. It's not going to be Russ. So the Raiders, on the other hand, same thing. What are they doing here? Both of these teams are in limbo at this point. Got some moves to make in the offseason. I think that's what they're looking forward to. Get some guys some chances this week, week 18. Hear a name you probably didn't know maybe from this game. Just give me the Broncos on the road. Why not?
Yeah, I think this is going to be a coin flip. I'm going to take the Raiders. Last week, the little hope I had of the Raiders making the playoffs went out the window when they lost to the Colts last week. So, my long shot pick is kind of out the window at this point. But, I mean, the Raiders, they've been playing some okay football. I mean, they've been playing super hard for Pierce, interim head coach. Got that going for him. Broncos, like you mentioned, the Russ drama, Sean Payton looking for his guy. Russ probably not going to be there next season. I think both of these teams are definitely looking on to the offseason. Got some pretty big decisions to make. Heard, some rumors that Harbaugh definitely be in consideration for that Las Vegas job. So two teams definitely more focused on the offseason at this point. But I'll take the Raiders at home. Why not?
Saw some odds, man, for Harbaugh. It's like minus 110. Hit the NFL. It was like plus 200 to stay at Michigan and plus 700 to not take a coaching job next year. So right now, NFL is the favorite for Harbaugh, especially after the Michigan sanctions that are probably coming to him. It's going to lead us to the Eagles-Giants, man. Your Eagles. I'm just taking the Giants. They played a competitive game last week. The Eagles, play calling. I mean, you said it all year, and I really watched it with my own eyes last week. I mean, Kyler Murray making one of the worst throws I've ever seen. You get like a 90-yard pick six and find a way to lose that game. It's ugly, man. Just once again picking against you. Give me the Giants.
Yeah, no, that's honestly not a bad pick at all. But I mean, I would like to think if the Eagles have any ounce of fight, anything left in them, it'd have to come out this week. And I mean, you saw 2 weeks ago, it literally came down to the last play against the Giants, and that was at home. So on the road here, Eagles usually always play good against the Giants, but I mean, at this point, Tyrod Taylor, who also played a super, super good game against the Rams, I think had like 300 yards or something, and they lost on a missed field goal. So
T-Mobile.
Yeah, I mean, they were in it to the last second against a playoff team, and I think definitely, how they played against the Eagles 2 weeks ago and watching the Eagles last week, the Giants 100% feel like they can beat this Eagles team, and I think they can. But, I'm an Eagles fan. I'm going to believe that they get things right. Earlier today, A.J. Brown finally spoke silence talking to the media. Took a lot of accountability, said, not only the coaching, but a lot of the guys got to play better. So it's good to see that A.J. Brown's, being a vocal leader of that locker room. Regardless, like I mentioned, man, if the Eagles have any hope, if they have any chance of, wanting to make a run, if they believe they can make a run with this team, I don't believe they can make a run with this team, but if they do themselves as the players, they got to win this game. They got to get that 2 seed, get some momentum, or not even get the 2 seed. They need Dallas to lose to get the 2 seed. But going into the playoffs, you got to have a win. You need some momentum. So I'm going to pick the Eagles here, but the Giants could easily win this game, and I wouldn't be surprised if they did.
Yeah, championship weekend had A.J. Brown in my lineup, was not happy. Got bailed out by Jordan Love and Harrison Butker, but Yeah, that's the only reason I was watching Eagles football last week. But Seahawks, Cardinals, Kyler Murray, other than that pick, he didn't look too bad in that game. James Conner, he went crazy. I believe the Cardinals said they are sticking with Kyler in the next season. This one, coin flip. Seahawks played horrible last week.
Yeah.
I think horrible is an understatement. They played awful. Just give me the Seahawks at this point. Once again, picking against you.
Yeah, for this game, I just kind of, I think the Seahawks they still have a shot to make the playoffs. They are playing for something, but I mean, looking at the two teams and what happened the prior week, the Seahawks at home just getting, manhandled against the Pittsburgh Steelers, and then the Cardinals going into Philadelphia, and then other than that, Kyler Murray, airmail pass, played a flawless game. So looking for momentum to carry over for both teams, and Cardinals with a little positive way to end the season, going to the offseason on a high note. I got the Cardinals getting a divisional win here.
Seahawks 26% chance to make it to the playoffs. Next game up, Rams Niners. Niners probably just gonna sit everybody as well. They clinched out number 1 seed. As far as the Rams, they are in it. I believe they can move. No, they can't even move in seeding. Yeah. So they clinched the playoff berth. So I'm not sure if they're actually playing or sitting. Niners, I know CMC's not going. Nobody's going for the Niners. They're going to go ahead, rest. Think, forget his name, Mason. What's his name?
Well, I think if the Niners lose and Dallas wins, I think they get. Would that be the same amount of losses, or would Dallas have one more win?
Oh, they both be 12-5.
Oh, okay. So then the Niners have the split. They got a tiebreaker because the Niners beat the Cowboys. So, yeah. Okay, if this is the same record, then the Niners. Yeah.
So just give me the Rams on the road, trying to build momentum. I don't know.
I'm just gonna pick the Niners. Like, this is like the backup bowl. Both teams kind of already situated into where they're gonna be for the playoffs. So, I mean, not really playing for anything, but both teams, want to have a nice little win, go into the playoffs with a little momentum. But I don't think this game will mean too much for either team, regardless. The only thing I will say is, maybe we see Puka Nacua go for that rookie receiving yard record. But other than that, just give me the Niners.
Yeah, I saw a little thing, player incentives this week, stats needed. So some of those guys are going out there going to be balling for a check, but Puka included, man, one of the best, rookie receiving seasons of all time. He's going for the record in terms of yardage. We'll see. Chiefs, they clinched the West. They got that 4 seed no matter what, I believe. I don't think they can move up at all. Let me just take a quick look. I don't think they can move up at all, but, the Chargers, on the other hand, they're definitely looking forward to next season. That's, your AFC team that you have been talking about this year. Oh, Chiefs got the 3. Yeah. So the Chiefs got the 3, and I believe they could bump up to the 2. I'm not sure. If the Dolphins lose and the Bills win, I think the Chiefs could jump up to the 2, so they might be playing for something. Chiefs have been playing ugly ball. I believe I made enough picks. I'm going to stick with the Chiefs on this one. I had the Chargers. But the Chiefs could actually move up if the Dolphins lose, which is very possible. We'll get into that next game. But give me the Chiefs on the road against, this abysmal Chargers season that they had.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, at this very moment in the season, this Chargers team might be the worst team in the NFL. So give me the Chiefs.
And then Sunday Night Football, man, the Sunday flex. Bills go to Miami to play the Dolphins, prime time. Under the lights last time the Dolphins did that, man. At home, they lost to Tennessee Titans in breakdown fashion, where Vic Fangio, who already found a way for me to fire him all year, and his lack of defensive adjustments, the fact of 50-plus points put up on your head against the Ravens, it just goes to show you, man, there was nothing the Dolphins could do to stop it. the offense, I mean, even if they played better, it wouldn't have mattered. You can't give up 50 points and expect to win an NFL game. That's what happened to the Dolphins. Fangio's got some serious mirror looking to do, reflection. And the same with Mike McDaniel and his play calling, man. Julian Hill, I believe, second or third string tight end. I've never seen him on the field the whole year, basically. He's getting thrown goal line fades on third down. I know they're thin at receiver, but I don't know. Achan has a hot hand to start the game, and they kind of just ran the ball to him twice, 2 first downs, and, you go hurry up, Tua throws a pick, whatever it was. This offense, this team plays with no sense of urgency. As far as the Dolphins, they really don't have that, high motor where it's like you got that dog leading your team, and I just don't see anybody really stepping up outside of Tyreek Hill. And sometimes these running backs, that's what Mostert's there for, but you need guys over the field that are playing with the different type of aggression, and Dolphins for the past 6 weeks have been looking like they're just coasting, high-powered, fast offense. If that's not clicking, nothing's clicking for them. They have no physicality, no defense. X went down. You're throwing Eli Apple over there instead of Cam Smith, and Eli Apple was just getting cooked. Kader Kohu, he's getting cooked by OBJ. It's just defensively does not look good. You finally get Javon Holland back. It still doesn't matter. His defense, serious. They have a serious task against the Bills and then in the playoffs as well. You got, Jalen Phillips already tore his ACL. Bradley Chubb, torn ACL after his MRI. I mean, Chubb was in that garbage time. Doesn't make any sense. McDaniel, another boneheaded coaching decision, which really starting to question as the season's gone on and on. And with all that being said, I can't rock with anybody besides the Finns. Like you said, if the Eagles, if they want to be a serious playoff team, they got to find it. The same with the Dolphins, man. There's no more playing around, bro. You do it now or never. So give me the Dolphins at home.
Yeah, if you just take away the names and, all the situations you mentioned, it sounds like you were explaining the Eagles. So some similarities there. But, yeah, man, I just think at home and kind of like leaning into what you said, man, like this has to be a statement win for the Dolphins. The Dolphins have been solid for these past couple years, but it's like, the Bills have always been that team they just can't beat. Can never seem to get over that hump. Earlier this year, the Bills were kind of, the first team to lean on the Dolphins and kind of, play that physical brand of football and ended up beating them at home. And tough loss against the Ravens, like you mentioned last week. Defense was pretty much a no-show. You mentioned the play calling, but this for me has, more to do with what I've seen from the Bills. I mean, if you go back their last couple of games, I mean, you need a game-winning drive from Josh Allen to kick the game-winning field goal to beat, this Chargers team, who I just said might be the worst team in the NFL. And then last week against the Patriots at home, the Patriots literally turned the ball over like 4 times in the first half, and you're still barely holding on for a lead. Just played really didn't play like good, clean football. Now, the Bills had that big win against the Cowboys, and it seems like they were going to be riding on some of that momentum. But these last couple weeks, they just haven't looked fully there. And, I mean, it's insane how they could literally go from, possibly being like the 2 seed to not making the playoffs at all at this point, winning that division or, completely missing out. So it's going to be tough. But, I mean, from, the totality of this season, there's been some very high highs and low lows for both of these teams. But I think the Miami Dolphins, the explosiveness they have on offense, those guys, those playmakers have been a little more solid. So I'm going to rock with the Miami Dolphins here, but I think this is going to be a very tough game, a very close game. I could easily see the Bills winning it. I just have some questions on, how they've been playing some of these bad teams pretty close in the Patriots and Chargers. I think the Dolphins have been a smidge cleaner so far, so I'm going to pick Miami here, but I think it should be a really good game, and it could go either way.
Yeah, and the Bills' defense last week, I mean, they got a few turnovers, including a pick 6, and still,
yeah, and it was
scraped by that game.
Offensively, they couldn't move. Stephon Diggs, he's kind of, disappeared. Cook, he had those couple big games, later in the season, but past couple weeks, hasn't really been there, fumbling against the Chargers. So you just want to see those players on the Bills offense step up and make plays. So I think that's all it's going to come down to.
Yeah, I don't have much confidence. Tua banged up, shoulder injury. This team,
or should I do you the favor and pick the Bills and give you a chance to beat me in the standings?
well, I could still beat you, but
give you more of a chance.
Well, I'm sitting at 155 and 99. You're sitting at 161 and 93 on the year. I forgot to go through our standings. So 6-game deficit. I think I picked 8 different, even after the Chiefs. I think I picked 8 different, or 7. Either way, just got to go perfect this week. I'm feeling it. Lock in your parlays. I don't even. This Dolphins. I'm in the same boat with you with the Eagles, man. Like, I wouldn't be sitting here thinking that the Browns on their 4th different quarterback before, Driscoll is going to be the 5th.
It's arguably the hottest team in the league.
Yeah, exactly. And I didn't think they'd. Beginning of the year, I'm like, Dolphins Super Bowl contenders. Like, you can't be stopped, this and that. It's bad, man, in Miami. Maybe they're just cursed. Who knows? Don Shula, perfect season. That's all we get in Miami. We'll see, man. Week 18 of the NFL season. Playoff implications across the board, man. It is going to be an exciting week. Any last NFL takes, man? Anything? Week 18?
Pretty much. Hit everything, covered everything there is. That part.
Heat playing your lake show tonight, man, on the West Coast.
My league show.
Yeah, LeBron Stan over there. And
Nah, and in terms of basketball, the team I've been watching the most lately has been the Warriors, so...
Okay, team light skin for usual.
Chef Curry,
yeah. The Thunder been hooping SGA, man.
Yeah.
Been saying it since last year. MVP candidate. He's looking like a serious one out there in OKC. That team's looking nice. Triple J, Rookie of the Year. I mean, I don't want to hear this Chet Wemby stuff, bro. Like, just turn on the game tape, bro. Forget the flashy plays, this and that. The Spurs have, 5 wins on the year or something? Like, shout out the Pistons. I don't know if it's been over a week since we recorded. Finally getting a dub. But the Thunder ran last week, man. They had some good games. SGA, I think he's had one game.
It was a good game last night against the Celtics. They beat the Celtics.
They're sitting at the 2 seed in the West, man.
Yeah, the Timberwolves are in the first, right?
Yeah. Spurs 5-28. I don't see how you could have a Rookie of the Year on a team like that, but
Chet has been hooping on the 2 seed.
I will give Chet his credit. But I don't think Wemby should be in this conversation whatsoever. I know he's, once in a generational player and whatnot. Not players. Twitter was taking shots at Kuzma. The Wizards have 6 wins, and they were like, "How can an NBA team not get a win?" Or something. He tweeted something like that.
Oh yeah,
talking about, bro, you only have 6 wins. You're on the Wizards. Like, you're not doing much better.
Yeah, he was like, at this point, you just don't want to be that team. And I was like,
yeah, that's what he tweeted out. I mean, you really don't. Shout out to Detroit, man. At least you got a good football team this year. I'll give.
That is true.
And they got Michigan. Michigan, finally getting over that playoff hump, getting a dub, heading to the championship against Washington. We might as well. You got your little pick yet for your college football championship?
I think Michigan is slightly the better team. They'll be a little more physical. And, just defensively what they do, I think they'll get after Penix a little bit. But I think it'll definitely be an exciting game. Like, Washington, they're going to air it out. They got those big play receivers, and Penix had a great game against Texas. So I think it'll definitely be a fun, entertaining game. But I think Michigan slightly takes the edge. They'll probably just run the ball all over Washington.
Yeah, after J.J. McCarthy almost threw a first-game interception against Bama. Think that's the play, man. Blake Corum, give him the rock. I got Michigan in that one as well. I think, Penix could put up some numbers. I don't know if he could keep up with that defense, especially if Michigan's able to put up some points. I don't think Washington's defense is going to be able to stop Michigan. I know, Washington can score, but I just think both sides of the ball, Michigan's defense is too stifling. and they just get, more stops in that Washington defense. So I got Michigan, man. That's going to wrap up, man, a, short episode 72. A lot of this NFL season already chalked up. We're going to break down, obviously, playoffs heading into next week. Should be shaking up good AFC, NFC matchups. We'll give our, early Super Bowl predictions, matchups, and winners as well next week. Go pod, YouTube, TikTok, like, comment, share, sub, Apple, Spotify, podcast, all that. And until next week, man, we got playoff football coming. Peace.